Cancer, welcome to your intimate tarot reading. You've been blessed with Our Lady of Perpetual Lawn Care today. It's usually the earth signs that take a hit, but not today. No, no, no. Today it's Cancer. It's been a minute. I think it's been a while since you got hit with Our Lady of Perpetual Lawn Care. There you go. Your message has been officially blessed and or sanctioned. That's not Bob, for those of you who know that particular background story. No, that's a crew. I can tell it's a crew. It's much faster and there's more sound. So that's a crew. So hopefully it'll be over quickly. That's what she said. That's not what we want to say on Intimate Tarot. No, that's not what we want to say. Oh, God. Why do you guys watch me? Why do you guys watch me? Hi. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so first of all, like I said, welcome to your Intimate Tarot reading. If you'd like to know why I read sexual energy, it will be outlined for you in the description box. Heads up, if you are sensitive around the topics of sexual energy, sexual identification, or descriptions that run along that same vein, this is not the reading type for you. Feel free to pass it up. No offense taken, none whatsoever. It's not everybody's message type, and I would never ask you, nor would I encourage you to watch anything that made you uncomfortable or comes into conflict with your values, because you will take nothing from it, and that is true from any and all tarot types. Second major point. Hi. If you're new to the channel, my name's Christina. I'm a little different. And happy to be so. I do have a sense of humor, and I do tend to talk to my subs like this. My regular crew is used to me. Hopefully they're chuckling. Some of them are rolling their eyes. It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, no, there you go. Our Lady. It's been a while since the water signs got hit with that. Okay, we're going to start by pulling you an overview card from the... Well, actually, it's from the same folks who make the Tarot Deck of Sexual Magic, as most of you are familiar with. They've also made a matching oracle to go with it. So, let's see what's going on for you. Just a little bit more, by the way. You know, most people, well, they'll tune into Intimate Tarot for a variety of reasons. Everything from I just want to take a look at my own sexual energy and what's going on with it, learn more about myself, because, you know, the more you know, the more you know. And that's true for all tarot types. Sometimes we just want to take a look at our own energy. Sometimes it's in approximation to someone else and we're sharing it. And that could be anything from a newly developing relationship to one that's been around for decades. And what does the sexual energy look like there? How's it playing out for both of us or as individuals? That's what most people watch, you know? It's just another way to learn. That's all. That's all it is. That's all it is. All right, let's see that Cancerian sexual energy, please. What's going on for Cancer? Oh, desire. Oh, and that's funny because this is one of your power cards. It's under your, I don't know if you can see your symbol right there, but that is under the Cancerian energy. Desire, darling. Desire. Oh. So you're feeling it strongly. Feeling it very strongly. We have a strong sense of desire for somebody somewhere, or just in the general sense, desiring from that place of your sexual energy is wanting to express itself. It has a particular desire, possibly an attachment to somebody, or again, it's just feeling desirable. Or it's a drive, a desire. Again, you're under the Chariot. Desire is a drive, a moving force. Let's see how you're being moved. Show me that Cancerian sexual energy, please. Show me that Cancerian sexual energy. Show me that Cancerian sexual energy, please. What is going on for Cancer? Show me that Cancerian sexual energy. Like always, regardless of what we see here today, take what resonates, leave what does not. Reverse those energies as you need to. Just because it says Cancer in the title doesn't mean it's for you. These are general collective readings, not one-to-one private. If you are paying for it, if you were paying for a private reading, it had better resonate. You know exactly why. You know. You had the same thought I did. You had the same thought I did. If you were paying for a private reading, it would have better resonate. As it were, I'm reading for lots of Cancers. So if you don't identify with it at all, perfectly normal. Check here the placements. All right. What's going on, please? What's going on? I caught it. I caught it, though. Do you see that? Do you see that, Cancer? I caught it. What's going on for Cancer, please? What's going on? And take a moment to have a laugh, guys, because, you know, it can be fun, it can be light, it can be playful, but as you also know, if you're familiar with my work, it can get very serious very quickly, okay? So if you have a moment to take a laugh, take one. Seven of Swords. Justice. Some of y'all ain't wanting something from somebody. You're like, it's there, but I don't want it. Ooh. Seven of Swords, Justice. Now, if the energy doesn't feel right and you don't want it, okay. But you're avoiding it. Seven of Swords is avoidance. And Justice. If the sex don't feel right, it don't feel right. But you don't need to avoid it either. Interesting. So you might have Libra in your chart, could be connecting to one. Six of Wands, the Hermit. Somebody would like to heal and to restore their sexual energy with you, within themselves, in the connection. I don't know. But it's the Hermit. It's calm. He's a peaceful guy. Okay, he's not very pushy. But with the Six of Wands, he feels it too. He's got some passion in him. He likes to see and be seen too. It's interesting to see him come out. It's like, yeah, I like sexual energy too, Christina the Hermit. I don't typically see him that active. But he's saying, I would like to feel better about this. I would like to feel better about my sexual energy. I find sexual energy to be healing, and I want to feel good in it again. And it's like whoever there is saying, I want to feel good in my sexual energy again. With you, within themselves, I don't know. It's interesting because you're like, I don't know that I want that with you. Seven of Swords, the Justice. She's like, I understand the fairness behind it, and perhaps the sexual energy is fair, but that I don't know that I want to participate in it, so maybe that isn't fair. It's interesting. I can't see why you're shying away from it, but it's almost like you're saying you don't want it. Four of Cups, Six of Swords, Eight of Pentacles. That's why you're not emotionally attached to whatever this is. You're in Cancer, honey, you're a water sign. You know, you're not just a water sign, you're a water cardinal. You know, you have a really strong inclination in you to understand your feelings before anyone else, but you also tend to suffer from a variety of feelings at the same time. So it's hard for you to be bold in your chariot, which is your higher self, to have one emotional concept, stick to it, and run with it. You will often have to go through this whole process of, I have all these feelings and I don't know which one is more dominant than the other. But I can kind of see why you're avoiding. I don't know how aware of it you are, because if you're having to avoid any sort of sexual energy, that tells me you're not entirely in touch with what you're feeling, but that's just a matter of time before you do. Four of Cups and the Six of Swords, you're emotionally and sexually dissatisfied, and you would like to move away from that. You know, it is what it is, guys. I have a huge, I'm part of a network of the burb. It's huge. Okay. And, in fact, the vast majority of the people who live on my street are retirees, you know, so it's actually really calm and peaceful, except for when it isn't. And so a lot of these folks who are older, they hire crews. So you'll get all the lawnmowers at one time, but it's done quicker. It's also louder. So it's frustrating, and I can't blame them, bless them. A lot of these folks are over 60 and they don't want to deal. Why would you? You got the money and you don't want to do it, pay someone else. That's cool. You know, that's not where I'm at. I'm still doing my own lawn stuff. I can't compete with Bob, but you know, but anyway, I'm sorry. Again, I'm probably talking nonsense who have no idea what I'm talking about. That's what a Taurus does. Speaking of which, shut up! How apropos is that? As a Taurus does, because I know the story. So if you have some Taurus in your chart and you're like, I know what's going on. Yeah, there you go. There, it's funny. That's Taurus's power card. As I said that. So what is your higher self saying, particularly in sexual energy? I want to know what your higher self is saying. Your authorized self, your commanding self, you know, this is Chief, right? He's kind of, I call him Mr. Grumpy Pants because he's more inclined to say no than he says yes. He's a permissions guy. My word is law. This is what I abide by. Not only that, I expect other people to follow a particular agenda. And people come to them of their own free will. So he can help sort their stuff out. Right? What is my higher self saying? In that way I can help you or inform you. So what is your sexual energy saying to you? At the higher plane of things. Okay. What feels right to you? Because you're showing me concepts of this doesn't feel right. And am I listening to myself? This is interesting. I'm very curious about this energy right here. It's slower, but it is saying it would like to feel good about the sexual energy in itself and in of its own right, and possibly with you. Okay. You're like, I don't know if I want to participate in this anymore. And you're going like this. Now, if it's not up for business, it's not up for business. Don't mess around with that. Don't compromise your sexual energy. If it doesn't feel right, then it's not. Leave it alone. But it tells me you are in something that's a little bit more on the officious side, and you can't just exit it, right? You're saying it's a process, and I'm trying to get familiar with it. I'm trying to get more comfortable with it. The Hierophant, Justice, and the Hermit's here. So this is something that's a little bit more than, you know, I just met that really hot Cancer down at the bar. It's a little more than that. Okay. There is a, well, stronger sense of connectivity here than that. Let's see that Hierophant. Let's see what he's saying. Show me that. Actually, come to think of it, yeah, we got a couple Earth here. Taurus, Virgo, some Libra. May or may not mean anything, guys. Don't get wrapped up in that. All right. Show me that Hierophant, please. Show me that Hierophant, please. Five of Wands, sexual tension, Ace of Pentacles, Three of Wands. It's kind of like your energy is saying, man, it's restless. It is restless. You know this. The Hierophant's aware of it. You are sexually restless. And it's more than that. You've gotten to that point of frustration. There is something in you that is desiring towards a longing and a waiting that's hard for you to define, but it's there. And it's almost like you catch yourself longing for something that's not within your grasp, and then you get mad at yourself all over again. You're in that moment. Sometimes you catch yourself in that moment of, man, I wish there was this other thing. God dang it, there is no other thing. This is my reality right now. So your higher self, your Hierophant energy, sometimes he starts to drift away and wonders if his sexual energy isn't better suited towards something else on the horizon that he's reaching for, that would like to reach for, but then reality kind of pulls him back. There is this sort of thing about, if there was something else on the horizon for me, with a stronger offer, with my best intentions, with the Ace of Pentacles, sexual, spiritual, all that jazz. Sometimes you can feel yourself reaching outward to whatever the hell that is, and then it gets pulled back. I'm like, nope. This is where I'm at right now. And you get frustrated. You get frustrated because your sexual energy is telling me it would like to be released. There goes the crew. Okay, hopefully that's the last of that. Five of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, the Three of Wands. You know, you are showing me sexual frustration, but that you have to keep it under control. You're the Hierophant here. Your higher self, your nobler self, knows better. But every now and again, it thinks about, I wonder what's out. Oh, nope, nope, nope. No wondering. No wondering for this guy. No wondering for this girl. This is where I'm at right here. Great. All right, and then you get back into that rhythm and pace of reality, but there's frustration. There's a searching within your spiritual self, a longing for a stronger sense of substance and vitality. Behind it is frustration that's hard for you to define. Restlessness. Wanting more, wondering if there is more. Catch yourself wondering if there is more, and then you chastise yourself. Is there something stronger that better represents me? Oh, can't afford to think like that. Pull it back. Right? And then everything gets cooled down again. The frustration gets cooled down. The longing cools down. All that. And it always kind of feels like you're waiting for the sexual energy to catch up to you in a way that makes sense to you, or it feels better. But it doesn't seem to really, and it kind of goes back to square one. You find yourself reaching out again, wondering if oh, never mind. Let's see this. I need to see why you're leaning away towards something by all rights that technically looks correct on paper. By all rights, you have something that's supposed to be about here. And like, yeah, that's in play. And I don't know that I necessarily want it, or to give my energy to it. Let's see that Seven of Swords and Justice. Let's see that Seven of Swords and Justice, please. Let's see that Seven of Swords and Justice, please. So there's the desire, and you trying to suppress it, and it's okay. It reaches out sometimes, and then it remembers where it is, and it snaps back. I understand. You know, it doesn't feel good. So Seven of Swords, injustice. The desire is there, and it's longing outside of you. Four Cups, there it is twice. See, that's why, honey. That's why. Death. Yeah. Oh, the Lovers. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't feel that way. Oops. It doesn't feel that way anymore, does it? You have something here that's technically correct. And I mean technically. Technically, something is at your disposal. Something is technically available to you. And you have next to no feeling or emotional sexual attachment to it. It hasn't transformed. It just seems to have stopped. Okay. That's pretty intense. That's pretty intense. If there was ever a strong lover's feeling, I don't even know there was a lover's connection. If there was ever such a strong sexual compatibility or sexual desire, of course it was at some point, because you're showing me the Lovers. I'm sure at some point you very much reveled in whatever this is. But the emotional disappointment and the sexual disappointment stands what it is today. But you haven't fully exited it. It's still technically here for you. And you're saying, by all rights, it's my justice. It's my form of correctness. It's mine, but I don't actually want it. And that's hardship, honey. That's a hardship. There's a reason why I'm seeing you pull a Six of Swords. Is that Four of Cups. You want to leave that emotional and sexual disappointment behind. And I have to say, yours is... I don't want to be dramatic, but good Lord, that's borderline, if not full-on, catastrophically disappointing. I mean, that is disappointing. To know that something is technically yours, legally yours, that you can legally participate in, or talking like full-on commitment, spouse, that kind of thing. It's all on paper. But everything behind it is disjointed, defunct, out of order. It looks like it's been a while since you've had any desire for this. So we have the absence of desire, so I can see that. And I know you can remember what it was. But I don't even know when the last time it is you found loving comfort or sexual comfort in this, whatever this is. I mean, I'm seeing Lovers not in the strong connection. I'm seeing it as the actual physical love here. The expression of it. Death. I mean, guys, I'm going to refer you back to that opening. If you're sensitive around these things, you know, I want you to take a break, maybe watch it later. What am I curious about is that even though by all rights it's yours, it could be your karmic justice, your karmic due, in terms of this is the contract you tied yourself to. And I'm sure at some point in the past, yeah, it felt like it was yours and that Lovers was doing its job. You guys were loving all over each other physically. I'm seeing this as the physical. Your ability to love it, to express yourself sexually towards it, was when you had very strong feeling for it and they did for you. But we haven't been on the same emotional or sexual page with this person in a long time, and frankly just the idea of it, it's like I know it's mine and I don't want it. Right? We lean away from it, but we haven't completely abandoned it. The death I'm seeing here is the death of the actual sex or the emotional interest in sex. You know, that women are better capable. I'm sorry, it's just women technically are. Men have this an amazing, and I'm not saying this is true, this is just how you can typically divvy up, if you will, men and women, sexually speaking, the biggest difference. Men have this fantastic ability, more often than not, to separate their emotional selves from their sexual selves, unless, of course, they are in love with their person, in which case they combine those two, or they can. And women typically, not all women, of course, you know, there's always the exception, but women more often than not, if they're sexually expressing themselves, it's because they have some emotional inclination towards that person. And So I'm not quite sure who I'm looking at today, but they said, you know, when one ended, so did the other. When I stopped having feeling for this, I stopped having sexual drive for it. Or when they stopped having sexual drive and emotional drive towards me, that's when I don't know. I don't know what started the other. I just know that for you, as you experience it to this day, both might have died the same day. Okay. And that's hard. That's really fucking hard, guys. It's quite surprising. I intentionally did yours second today because I wanted to give you more time. It feels like your stuff always has more to work with recently, and I wanted to give you more time, and it's looking like we're going to need it today. So yeah, when I'm saying I'm looking at a Cancer who is just not emotionally or sexually attracted to this person anymore, doesn't want to express themselves towards it anymore, and they're going more and more like this every day towards that person. It is. I'm not doing a backtrail of what led up to this. You have your own particular... This was a road. This was a road. This didn't happen yesterday. This was a road. With a very strong understanding that we need to leave this particular road. Eight of Pentacles, you're working through it. What's this? Yeah, I mean, there's a reason, honey. There's a reason that Hierophant's like, every now and again, you wonder about a new beginning. Outside of this. And when he actually gives permission on stuff like that, I don't see it too often. So even your higher self is saying, maybe it's time to look elsewhere, to experience something elsewhere, to plant a new pentacle elsewhere. Right? That's a big dang nudge coming from that guy. The Hermit and Six of Wands, some of this person's saying they're willing to heal the feel-good energy, Six of Wands, and that's okay. Six of Wands is part of the sexual energy. It's a lightness. It's a lightness. And the Hermit next to him suggests the comfort of knowing I'm with you, and that in and of itself feels good to me. Six of Wands and the Hermit, show me that, please. Show me that. Show me that Six of Wands and the Hermit. King of Swords, Three of Swords, Two of Pentacles. You know, I don't see them wanting much of the sexual energy. I just see them wanting to make peace. They understand there's disappointment here. It's I don't know how loud or quiet their energy is towards you, but they seem to have accepted the fact that the energy has shifted and changed between you two. They know this. And they're able to make some repairs, so that's good. I just don't think it's the repairs you want. It's kind of like saying, isn't it enough to know that we're together? And it is sweet. It is. But there's some things in their energy they just can't heal, and the sexual energy seems to be one of them. They struggle with it. They struggle with it. There's a sense of rejection of the physical self here. Perhaps they're not comfortable with the physical energy anymore. Perhaps it just doesn't mean the same thing to them anymore. I'm leaning towards that. The sexual energy just doesn't mean the same thing to them like it used to. It's enough for them to be companionable. But I typically see companionable things like this with Three of Pentacles and the Six of Wands isn't enough to call each other friends. So this person's taking a more adult point of view or a more mature point of view that I understand and acknowledge between us it's not the same. I know you still value your sexual energy, and I know it's not what you want. But I really feel that you and I can coexist in a way that suggests we can be happy to some extent. It may not be thrilling, it may not be fireworks, but it is coming from a mature place, so it's not just this, let's just agree to get along shit, which is what I typically see in these kind of relationships that are headed in a certain direction. So I'll give them that. They do want the companionship. And they do want it at a higher functioning level with the Hermit and the King of Swords, but it is still cold with the physical energy. They know this. So do you. And that's why you're leaning away. It's kind of like saying, this is what I can do. And in a way, it's sweet because it is sincere. The Hermit's there, so I trust it. So you got to ask yourself what they're offering, or what they've been offering, or what your current relationship is that enough for you? Because it seems to be hitting you pretty freaking hard. The Cancer I'm looking at, your emotions and your sex are one and the same. And it's at that point where it's like, yeah, this is mine, but it's not what I agreed to. Yes. Yes. What you agreed to was something else. And they're trying to form or forge a new agreement with you. And this is what I advise people all the time. If you are in a commitment like this, okay, and the agreement has changed, in other words, from when you first committed or first got married, and let's fast forward 10, 15, however many years, and the relationship has changed and shaped the way it's supposed to. But in other words, I mean, the way it played out is the way it played out. It ended up this way because it couldn't have been any other way. That was its natural course. You have to come to terms with a new agreement that this is how it is. That means you both accept it, not just a passive acceptance, because that's going to form anger, resentment, and bitterness, but an open acceptance. I understand that this is where we are, and based on my own thought and feeling, I understand that it's the new agreement for us and I can accept it. Okay? That means nobody's a victim, and no one can accuse the other person of being or causing misery and unwillingness to change. So you can openly accept it, or you don't. Because that new agreement is technically not what you signed up for. Therefore, it's not actually what you want. You got to ask yourself a lot of things here, because it is fairly catastrophic for the Cancer I'm looking at. It's hitting hard, really hard. And I understand. I understand. You don't want to be out of love, just like you don't want to be out of sex. For the Cancer I'm looking at, it's one and the same to you. You don't want to be out of sex because you're not out of love. You still have and want to have those feelings. That's why I saw you opening up with longing and desire for something outside of this. Because your higher self started saying, can we start poking around out here? Oh, pull it back. We can't. That's the first clue. Okay? So they know that you're disappointed in their inability to be fired up like that. They know this. So that's why it's kind of like, can we just really soften that sexual energy and just make it something that we can both maybe not take full pleasure in, but we can both kind of, maybe we can just have a good time with each other, you know, to see and be seen, and maybe we flirt with each other on occasion, you know, we take pride in each other. Is that acceptable? But the actual physical act itself, not so much. It's almost like they're saying they're too old for it, and I don't know about that, but they might be convinced. They're hoping that it's good enough for you, or that you'll accept it, because they're strongly concerned that you won't, and for good reason. And for good reason. So you got to ask yourself, honey, are you in love with this? Are you still in love with this, that you can kind of let go of the sex and the sexual energy? You know? It comes down to you. Let's see if you have an idea of what you want to do. I'm not casting judgment here, guys. I just want it sorted out so that you can live your best life. And if you understand this is still part of your best life, okay, then keep it. But you have to agree to those terms. It might shift and change again later. I don't know. And if it's not, what does that look like? Let's see that 4 of Cups, please. Seven of Swords. There's that avoidance energy again. It's avoidance in that you don't really know what to do, and this is not the easiest thing to confront, so I'm not giving you a hard time for that. Look at that. Does anything about that at all look easy to confront? No. Of course it doesn't. It doesn't. You don't feel comfortable yet. 7 of Swords, you're not ready to look at it yet, because that's how hard it's hitting you. This is not a super cash concept. This is rather large. It's sizable. So when I'm saying you're avoiding, it's not because it's superficial and Cancer, what the hell are you doing? That's an easy decision. Get over yourself. Make the decision. No, this is something that runs a little deeper. So little Seven of Swords, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Okay. Let's see that Four of Cups, please. And that is emotional disappointment. That is upsetness. And your sexuality is in that Four of Cups as well. You and this person, again, are not emotionally or sexually on the same page. And you likely haven't been for a long time. So the idea is you're at that point now. You're at that crux, honey. You're at that crossroads. And understanding, can you agree to these new terms? It's not new. They've been in play. There they are again. King of Swords, the Four of Wands. They're recognizing the relationship. They're still telling you, I understand you're disappointed in sex. I understand. They seem to think it's just a sex thing. I see. Okay. So, they mean well, they do. They do. And they're saying this as much as I am able or am prepared to offer. And I know it's not what you want. I understand if you're disappointed that you don't have enough sex in this relationship. So they're taking it to it's automatically about sex thing. To you, you're showing me that kind of more masculine energy that I was referring to. That said, but the sex and the feelings are the same for me. If I don't have one, it kind of says I don't have the other. And women are more familiar with this, but it's coming across as catastrophically as that kind of more masculine energy. But I can't separate the two because this is how I've understood you to be for me. And it's weird because this person's saying, I see the marriage, I see the relationship, I understand you're disappointed about the sex, and that's where they really think you're upset. That Four of Cups was attached to your sexual relationship with this person. And they're like, I understand you're upset about the sex. It's more than that. You know? And they have such a hard hat about that. The King of Swords twice. Aquarian energy doesn't have to be. But they have such a hard mind about that. It's like, I know it's about the sex. It's kind of like saying your inability to touch me says that you don't love me. And I don't know that that's necessarily true, but I can kind of see how this person has... That's how I know what it's about. And so it feels like it's being brushed off, right? It's in that kind of attempt to minimize the damage by saying it's just sex. And for the Cancer I'm looking at, it's not. It's very much not. And this is where I see the biggest difference in these long-standing. So going back to that male and female thing, a woman in a long-term relationship will be like, well, I still love you, so it's just sex. Don't worry about it. And the guy's like, no, to me they're the same. And so this is where we see role reversal. So that's why it feels like it's a female saying like, no, I still, love us and love this. It's just sex, don't worry about it. And the guy's usually like, but for me it's the same. See what I'm saying? That's why I keep coming back to that. But sex aside, you kind of get where I'm going. This person's kind of dismissive, and they're like, I know it's just the sex, don't worry about it. It's fine. I know that's why you're upset. Like, how does that help you? It doesn't. And Six of Swords. Let's see what that looks like for you. But at the beginning of the relationship, men do a better job of separating those things, and women typically have them combined in some way. And then time passes for two people, and then the role reversal typically happens. It's interesting. It's interesting. Let's see that Six of Swords, please. Let's see that Six of Swords. Let's see that Six of Swords. Excuse me. Let's see that Six of Swords, please. The Eight of Cups, the Three of Pentacles, the Fool. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. You have interpreted their offer, even though it is coming from a mature place, and I did give them credit for that, but you are interpreting it, I think, a little more correctly. What they're offering me is a neutral sort of friendship, and I don't want that. You're interpreting what they're saying, I think, correctly. It's an agreement to get along in a more neutral space, and you're like, I can't. do that. I can't do that. 8 of Cups. And the more that they ask me to hang out and just be like, I understand why you're upset. It's because there's no sex. Not really, not high functioning or quality sex. But I still want to be part of this. And, you know, I hope that what I have to offer you, they're worried on the inside that it's not. They know how important this is to you. So it's kind of like, you know, that's like, if I minimize it, then maybe Cancer will believe it. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal because you know yourself. And I said, you have to understand if this agreement is right for you. And you're saying it's not. So you came to that conclusion. It really pisses me off. Their intentions are good, but this is what I hate what people do. There's a conflict between you and I. You have a major point, but I don't want to acknowledge that major point because then it runs as a detriment against me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize it from my point of view. And if I minimize it enough, it shouldn't be as important to you because I said so. And it bothers me. They have an insecurity here. They know that there's a good chance you're not going to take to this or that you're not taking to it. And they know that. They sense it. So what do? They turn around and say, it's just sex. I know where your disappointment's coming from. It'll be fine. That's minimization of the issue. And while I agreed with what they were being honest over here, it's a little too dismissive in the real world. And I think what you're doing here is interpreting this correctly. What you're saying is that we'll cooperate to get along as friends. I don't want to do that. And so I see you opening up in a different... You're saying this might be foolish. You're saying that might be foolish. You're even telling yourself this might be foolish, Cancer, this might be stupid, but I can't. I'm not in a place where I can accept this kind of neutral friendship. Neutered friendship. It's more than just sex to me. It's kind of like I interpret your lack of interest in me as also being emotionless, and I think you're closer to correct than they are. Not because I'm saying that love and sex have to go hand in hand. It goes back to the agreement. You're telling me sharply what it used to be like before death took its toll and claimed the physical relationship. That means you had the strong emotional and sexual compatibility until you didn't. And one of the reasons that you love this person is because of who they are and how they could express themselves. And so they're asking you to take on a completely different agreement, which means you don't recognize who they are anymore and you don't recognize yourself in the agreement anymore. And it's something, again, you can either say yes to or no to. And you're saying no. You're politely declining this. And I have to agree, they're kind of, let's just leave it that to agree to disagree about the sexual energy, because that's all it is, right? No, for you it was one and the same. And that comes down to who we are as individuals in terms of what priority is. I understand that there's love between us and therefore there should be a natural flow of it in some way beyond the, let's just agree to keep it together and cooperate. You want more depth than this. You did not sign up to a cooperative friendship, right? You didn't go into a co-op. You're not co-eds. You're not supposed to be. So I grant you, while they're trying to handle this with a certain level of maturity, the dismissiveness bothers me. Because again, it's that effort to minimize it in order to get more of what they want and that you'll see to it their way. Didn't like that. And then also, they kind of knew on the inside it was a shaky alliance, that there was a good chance that you weren't going to go for it, and they were afraid of the rejection. Because whatever this is, can we just be at peace and try to get along and take comfort in that? You're just saying it kind of more for what it is. It's just a fancier version of you calling ourselves, or us calling ourselves friends. It's just from a more mature place. I was giving that person full credit. Right up until that point, they were dismissive of the sexual energy as not being important to the relationship. I don't like that. Because that assumes the other person's supposed to go along with it, like they're morally superior, and that's bullshit. That's why you have to understand your sexual energy. If you had known 10 or 15 years ago that this is what they'd be asking you to do, you probably wouldn't have agreed to marry them or commit to them. Right? But we don't know that at the time. At the time, you two were having banging, lovely emotionally tied, strength, supportive sex that supported the relationship, that supported your love, and supported each other until somebody's just not in that space anymore, and I respect that. But that doesn't mean you should expect the other person to go along just because you no longer value sex. That's not right, it's not fair, and it's not cool. It's literally the version of, I'm asking you to wait, and we both know we're not supposed to do that. You never ask anybody to wait, and you never say, just relinquish your sexual energy and then we'll be fine. That's like saying, cut out a part of yourself because I said it doesn't really matter. Yes, it fucking does. So the minute this person started to minimize what they thought they knew what it was all about and completely dismissing your feeling that's attached to your sex, that's when I had a problem. That's when I had a problem. A part of them is more mature than this. So that tells me they got dismissive because they know what you're leaning against or leaning away from. So it's kind of like a last-ditch effort to minimize it. You're like, I can't do that. Again, you don't get to dictate somebody's sexual energy. You just don't. It's not fair. It's literally the equivalent of asking someone to wait. How long? A year? 2 years? 3 years? 4 years to get your shit together? And then you'll come around because you finally understand? No. And you don't get to tell me or dictate or ask that I minimize the sexual energy like it's no big deal. Because guess what? My heart's in there too. Right? Water creatures typically are. Our heart typically resides in our sex. And typically, yeah, it's a domino effect. You start tinkering around with one, you're going to affect the other. So if somebody starts to turn off the emotional tap, there's a good chance they're going to start turning off the sexual tap. So I was cool with what I felt a little bad for them because I understand that fear and the little bit of insecurity here. I wonder if they'll go for this. But as soon as they played that card, yeah, I know why you're upset. It's because there's no sex in the relationship. I get it. That doesn't change the offer. I just think you shouldn't put as much into it, Cancer, as I do. See what I'm saying? That's, in other words, doing what I said that you probably should never do. Let's just agree upon a neutral friendship and agree to get along. That's called companionability. And, honey, you can get that with a cat. So I guess all this to say, I'm actually very proud of you. My biggest thing, honey, as a tarot reader, you have to know who you are. You have to be aware of your emotional energies, your mental energies, your spiritual energies, your sexual energies too. That's why I read intimate tarot. Because if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you're doing. So if you're someone who doesn't value sex, I would still be fine. That's cool, Cancer. Just so long as you're in alignment with you. I don't care. In which case, you could have gone along with this person's plan. Done. There's no fuss, no muss. Done. Short reading. But you staying on board with this person's proposal, plan, or new agreement puts you out of alignment with you. It's not what you want. It's not who you are. Do you know why? Because you know yourself. That's it. Yes, relationships are more than sex. The Cancer I know looks at this and is feeling that and thus has made their decision because they know the relationship is more than sex. It's also their emotions. I like how this person glossed over that. And somebody who's just all about sex, that shows too. Somebody who's just all about I love you, but I don't want the other parts. Or I'm in this for the security, but my heart isn't. Never mind my sex. That's always obvious too. And people play the material game. I see that too. We've got a foundation. You make decent money. I don't want to rock the boat. So every now and again, I'll give you a blowjob and that'll blow things. It just smooth things over, right? Blow things over. Smooth things over. I see that stuff too. This is why you have to know more about your sexual energy, not less, because of the way people use it, disrespect it, disregard it, and then they wonder why shit happens the way it does. If you know it's important, then it's important. It's really not up for negotiation, just like your heart isn't. Your feelings are your feelings. That's it. When you ask somebody to compromise their sexual energy, you say it's like it's not important, and then we can get along fine. What the fuck does that even mean? It's like, I know you're gay, but I need you to be straight so you and I can like have a relationship, that's the equivalent of it. It's not right. It's not fair. So I don't care how long you two have been committed, 5, 10, more than, I don't give a shit. You don't get to ask somebody, just let that part go and we'll be fine. What the fuck is that? You don't get to do that. So no, there's no cruelty behind it. Don't get me wrong. There's no devil. There's no 5 of swords. There's no sense of manipulation. It's just, again, it's the dismissal thing that everybody defaults to when they're not getting what they want. Oh, that's not important. Just believe that like I do and we'll get along fine. That's when, see, dang it. They were showing me a certain level of maturity up until this point, and they still weren't, even back here, they weren't offering the sexual relationship, but it was, what they were offering did come from a good place in them. Yeah, there was some insecurity behind it. But they were trying to smooth something out. It wasn't much, but it was sincere. And then their insecurity, I see it now, got the better of them. And that's when they did that dismissive thing. But honey, to your full credit, you saw it for what it was, and there's a reason I touched on it. You know, let's just call it friendship. Let's take that out of the box. Can't do it. 8 of Pentacles. I don't know when you make this move. I don't know. I do not know when you walk. It's like when they start to dismiss your sexual energy as not being as important because they're failing to see how it ties back to your emotions. That's when you start to disconnect from this more and more. At first you were very disappointed that there was no sex life between you two. And then it's full on, this is some neutered Barbie and Ken bullshit, right? No. 8 of Pentacles. Let's see that 8 of Pentacles, please. Empress. The Knights of Cups. Chariot. There's the desire, there's the drive. I was like, at what point were we going to get back to that main one? There it is. Once you have exited this, you will launch into something immediately. I don't know what it is with or who it is with, but the construction happens fast. And I mean fast. You are all in. Seriously, bro. Talk about the, or sis. I know I was going on about the masculine and feminine. It just felt like this was a masculine reaction. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be, but that's how... When we see the kind of sexual energy fall down the way it does sometimes, I'm like, that is such a feminine thing, or that is such a masculine thing, and that may not have anything to do with your sexual assignment. We all have an emperor and empress within us. The more balanced and harmonious your energies are with that construct, the less conflict I see about gender roles and shit like that. But in here I had such a strong masculine reaction. My sex and my feelings for you are the same. That's why I have love for you and sex for you. Is because they both reside in you. And that's very much a masculine thing when a man's in love. I see both of these elements in you. That's why I chose you. And this person further down the road is kind of like, well, we have the relationship and that's good and secure enough for me. And I still love you, just not like that. That's as good as calling it friends. See what I'm saying? That's why I emphasize that, because that's just what it feels like. And I don't mean to put anybody off, but... It just, I don't know why I kept picking up on that. I don't know what the point of it was. I guess to kind of further demonstrate how divided you two are over a very critical subject, because it extends well beyond sex at this point. We're talking about emotional development, or rather lack thereof, that this connection or commitment has nowhere else to go, and more the point, you have no more desire and or drive for it. I saw it right here. And it's like I said, you can get that kind of companionship with a cat. You don't have to be married to it. You know? You don't have to answer to a cat. You know? Just like you don't have to answer to your friend. They're a friend. But we don't want to answer to a friend. We want to answer to a companion. We want to answer to a partner. We want to answer to somebody who actually means something in our world that extends well beyond the, how are you doing today? You know, and that's what I see you working on after this is exited, babe. After this is exited, after this is done and dusted. I was like, okay, well, your energy picked up what you're working on. I see what you're working on. Look at that. I'm seeing, again, I'm feeling like this is masculine. And I'm not trying to alienate you. It's just I'm kind of required to report impressions. There's you, the Chariot. That's your power card. Knight of Cups, the Empress. I see you pursuing someone fast with full intention, no hesitation. Your heart's in here, your sex in here. And someone is a very happy recipient of that honor. And the Empress in tarot, sexual tarot specifically, she's tops. She's exclusive rights only. She only gives her sexual and emotional energy to one person as she sees as her equal. That's it. That's why she's walking around half naked in her house, because she's like, I know myself and I know who this is for and I know who it isn't for. First and foremost, my sexual energy is for me. And if I'm in love with you, I share it with you because I'm secure and I know who I am and I'm in love with you, babe. So you get the best of me. That's who she is in sexual tarot. Not just productive, sexually productive, but sexually secure. Sexually secure because she knows who she's giving it to. The one she anoints as hers. That's it. The Emperor and the Empress want their equal, not their lesser. And you're like, I want to know if I'm that person's equal. So I see you driving towards them at breakneck speed, like you are making up for lost time. So I'm not dismissing at all your decision. This took time. It took time to kill the sexual energy and your emotions along with it. That this person is... Here's what I think. I think you would have stayed in this longer had they not been so dismissive of what you were experiencing emotionally. Maybe the sexual piece, you could have let that slide for a long time. I wouldn't have wanted you to. If it's part of who you are, then you would be negotiating yourself, and that's no good. You don't want to compromise yourself like that. But I honestly, Cancer, I think you could have hung in there longer, even with no sex, had they not been so dismissive of your feelings. They didn't seem to understand that for you, they're not far apart. Your heart and your sex. Had they not been dismissive, downplayed it, or act like it wasn't important. Had they not let that I understand why they would have been insecure, but they should have kept that shit down and kept with their offer. It was gentle, and it still wasn't what you wanted. But if they hadn't slipped into that insecurity, if they hadn't given into it and tried to get you to adopt their point of view, you might have stuck around even more. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing they went into an insecure place. Maybe it's a good thing they asked you to be like, it doesn't matter. Maybe it was a good thing. Maybe it helped free you sooner. You didn't have to keep lying to yourself, and they didn't have to keep trying to keep you on the hook. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, boom, look at you go. You start putting work into that almost immediately, and it's all water. So we're immediately presenting emotionality to somebody with the strength and conviction of our heart, someone who represents that desire. We start romancing that person quickly. Champagne, cheers. Someone who's a better reflection of who we are. They hold the mirror. This person is a reflection of your desires. Somebody got some banging titties. Look at that. Anyway, that's you. That is straight up you. That is straight up you. That is straight up you. The drive, the force, the desire, knowing, picking one emotion, sticking to it, breakneck speed. Speed's not the issue here, guys. It's just when you have completely, fully, consciously, and physically left this neutered friendship behind. Once it goes past that point of no return, there you go. You're done. You're in the free and clear. Your Hierophant finally gets to invest in that Ace of Pentacles. Love is being presented first, with the real intention behind it being both physical, earthbound, 3D, in other words, intent. Your high sense of romance, I gotta get this person, is on full drive. Is on full drive. And it could be coming towards you, but honey, I saw that your desire moves outward and strongly, and it's very specific to somebody in the future. Speaking of which, nope, we can't go over now. We won't. I won't. I did want to take extra time with yours because I have been mindful that you have been experiencing some deep stuff recently, and for some of you within 3 months. and 2 months from now, so that's fairly close to each other. We're going to say over the next several months. At what point that means, I don't know. I can already tell you've been living this, and this is their ongoing kind of proposal that they're becoming increasingly insecure about. I see that. But the day you realize that they're asking you to separate one from the other in order to maintain the relationship, that's when you seem to know. When you actually deliver your final answer as in full separation, I don't know. But it seems like over the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to be part of this process of continuing to live this until something becomes more evident and that you become more comfortable and crystallized with. Things will unfold as they are meant to. Okay. I don't know who that is, but they are very comfortable with themselves, first and foremost. And they have a high romantic feelings. Yes. No shit. Right there. That desire. Reconciliation. So does someone whom we know. It is someone whom you know, for which you have romantic feelings. Perhaps that explains your particular comfort zone. Keep an open mind. Your person who is your kind of forever person, longer, further out in the future, they are different from you demographically speaking. Age, race, religion, ethnicity, culture, any of those things. In other words, they don't look like you. They don't have your same background. There might be differences, like I said, in all those particular demographics. Take your pick. But you already know that, especially if this is a reconciliation energy. You know these things, and therefore it's confirmation. And very soon, I told you, you're at that fucking crossroads, aren't you? You're at that crossroads, aren't you? Very soon, within these 2 to 3 months, to really kind of extract what we've been talking about here. Wow, good. I want you to do this. I want to get you guys past this. I want to get you guys on your new roads, your new adventures. Guys, I don't advocate separation unless it's so obvious. You'd have to be a fool to miss it. When it's in your best interest, do it. Do you see how, this is what I'm talking about. Does that look fragmented to you or consolidated? That's consolidated. I know what I'm doing. Get out of my way energy. Does this look fragmented or consolidated? Get it? Do you get it? I'm not a doomsday tarot reader, guys. I read what's there, not what isn't. This is a whole bunch of this isn't what I want, but I'm still living it. 2, I'm on board with me, and now there's no going back. Do you see the difference? That's what I want. I want people to know what they want and know to the point what they need. A false person, honey, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought that, I saw their insecurity. I even touched on it. I was like, yeah, they're a little insecure. You might reject this. And then it got the better of them. It got the better of them. And then they got into that place of, well, just don't worry about that part. You'll be fine. I'm not. You should follow my example. That's where they went wrong. Also, the sign of Capricorn doesn't have to be. Aquarius. A bit of luck. 4-leaf clover for some of you. And also next spring, or as I look at it, next big allergy season. At the next height of pollen for some of you too, whatever that is, 2 years, I don't know. I told you. What did I tell you? Look at me. There's a reason I do my job. I'm sorry. You know me. Tarot's supposed to be sex exclusive, but when I get the impressions, I have to report it. There's a reason why. I know. I told you. You are the main guy. You're the fucking main guy, and you're showing me the institution. So there's more of that Hierophant energy. So some of you might have some fairly strong Taurus in your chart, or again, you're showing me the institution of marriage, and you're still the main guy. Because here we have the officiousness of the government building. So that represents that Hierophant commitment. This is how we do things. I know you take things seriously. I know you do. Here's the problem with your partner. At some point, they stop taking your comprehensive self as a whole person seriously, too. That's where they fucked up. But I honestly am kind of glad that they did. I'm kind of glad. Because it helped you make your decisions sooner rather than later instead of keep stringing you out, that there's still something here to cling to. And there isn't. There's part of you that's so much bigger and knows where it wants to go. You're the guy. Okay? And yes, I see that you respect the institute of marriage. I see that you respect your commitment, and then it stopped respecting you back, and thus your decision is born. You didn't marry a gender-neutral friend. I know, loyalty. I know, loyalty. And they want you to stay. The loyalty there, the leash. Remember your loyalty to me. Stay on the leash. And like I said, that's that kind of soft energy right there with the Hermit and the Six of Wands that I'm seeing. And I'm seeing that in the puppy's eyes. I know. Like I said, but time is a thief and it's getting away from you. The more you wander that particular maze, the more time you lose. And you also feel like they're stealing your time. But not being more forward, but not being more understanding, or not trying to help, or because I don't. Okay. God dang it. Cancer. That's all right. I wanted to give you that extra space, so I'm going to technically call yours extended. I'm not going to make any money off this one today because it's over an hour, so that means YouTube will punish me. You're welcome. You do get punished. You do 100% get punished. Q-E-S-G. Oh, that's pretty good. I typically only get a couple letters now. So that is, again, G-Q-S-E. Heart with the nurse's cap in reverse. This is not healing. The heart's not healing and the sexual energy is not healing. And I did say Capricorn, didn't I? Yes, I did. Right here. Right there. And there's that Capricorn medallion. So for some of you, you might have some very strong Capricorn in your chart. Or yes, you could be connected to Capricorn. Yeah, we have all the earth here today. Okay, the Ten of Pentacles, the Tree of Life. I know there's more of that earthbound. These are my real responsibilities, energy. So again, the seriousness of this. We're taking this seriously. This is not an easy decision. I understand. You have my full support. And if you hadn't heard that by now, then you're not hearing me. And I'm sorry you're in that place, but I am completely supportive of the Cancer I'm looking at today. I understand where you've come from. I understand what you've been going through. I understand what you're going to continue to go through. And then I promise you the Cancer I'm looking at comes out the other side. So I don't know who your Empress is, honey, but you're going to bag them. You're going to bag them and tag them, and that's it. I was like, I'm working through that. Like, there was no hesitation. I mean, it was beautiful. I see you expressing yourself very well to somebody, and you got that Empress's attention. So, and that star's in reverse. Oh no, that particular star, that hope, that dream, that desire is over. Again, more of that Aquarian energy as well. Very consistent. Okay. I hope this helped you. Realize that you are an active participant in this, and realize that your feelings, emotionally as well as sexually, because again, the Cancer I'm looking at, they're one and the same, are real and valid. I was even rooting for this person a little bit. Maybe they do need a little more time, but you know what? I should have known better. When somebody's sexual energy is over and they can't live up to it anymore, but they want the other person to play along like everything's cool, that's literally the equivalent of asking someone to wait, but for no reason. And you both know it. It's not fair to you. And if they were really thinking about it, if they took their ego out of it and they took their insecurity out of it, they would realize it wasn't fair to them either. It probably hasn't even occurred to them. Perhaps they could move on and connect to something else that gets them going again. But they don't see it that way. Okay. Oh, and the feather. Just more of that air energy. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Okay. Like I said, I hope this helped you. Put in the comments as you see fit. Take care. Be well.